Hello, SimTheWorld here again with another exciting episode playing Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. On today's video, we'll catch a break with our next story mode job by not having to search the car over 3 times. We also will take a trip to the car salon to see if we can pick up a new ride for ourselves. In the last video, we had finished up one of the hardest jobs yet in the shop, and it definitely wasn't due to my stupidity. Today, we're going to move on strongly and hope for a better time with this next order. But let's jump right in and see what we have. My car doesn't start anymore. When it used to run, it made strange noises. Every morning, I would wake up my entire neighborhood. Please make it start and see if you can do something so it's not so darn loud. This one has a reduced part list and one of the spark plugs is already marked. So let's get it on the lifter. They did mention that the car doesn't start. So let's take a look under the hood. First thing I want to do is check the battery, which we can do with the electronic meter. Good thing we unlocked that. That's going to make this job a lot easier. As we can see, the battery's dead. That's an easy fix. Jump into our tablet, buy a new battery. Now that we've replaced the battery, let's go ahead and take a look at the spark plugs, since we know that we have to replace at least one. Ignition wires look good. Just pull these out. That's at 10%, 9, 12, and 15. So we do need 4 spark plugs. Usually when one goes bad, they're all about to go bad. It's easier just to replace them all at once. And while we're checking out the wiring, let's take a look at the ignition coil. Examine that, we'll take it off. That looks pretty dirty, and that was at 5%. After last job, we're going to make sure that we check every part before we move on. At least for the electrical components, that is. Certainly not going to do a full teardown on this car. This fuel filter also looks awfully rusty. Let's take that off and check it. That's at 25%. So we'll want to replace it. Let's take a look at our car status. We still have 3 parts we need replaced. And he mentioned the car being loud, so we know that some of the exhausts will need replaced. I already tell the middle muffler, the rear muffler need replaced. Those are pretty rusty. Other than that, the rest of the exhaust looks fine. That will take care of 2 of the parts. We still have 1 more in the car that needs replaced. You can see the air filter, we can see some white on that still, so that still looks fine. Let's look at the back end and see if there's anything sneaky going on. They also asked for an oil change, so let's drain that while we have it up in the air. Look like there's very little oil left in that car. Sure, that certainly helped it run fine. We're going to take off the rear and middle muffler. Let's check that fuel pump. That was at 9%. I ever so slightly saw the rust on top of the fuel tank. Just goes to show that parts can be hidden just about anywhere. Also made sense that the fuel filter needed replaced, so it's always worth a check on the pump. Let's go to our exhaust. We need a middle muffler. And we need a rear muffler. Let's go ahead and throw these parts on. And our middle muffler goes next. Before we forget, can't send the car out without putting some new oil in. Once this jug goes halfway back like that, we know that there's enough oil. Take a look at the car status. Everything's checked. Oil's checked. And that's another job finished. So let's move on next to the car salon. Move over here to the garage door and let's go take a ride out. Here we are in the big city. The bus just dropped us off because we still don't have a car of our own. As we can see, there are 5 cars that are randomly spawned in. These all spawn in with 100% condition. There's nothing left to repair. I normally don't come here because in Car Mechanic Simulator, I want to fix cars. I don't want to buy them new. But if there's a car that you really want to test out and you don't want to go through the work of repairing them, this is a great place to come to. So let's take a look. We have over here the game's generic version of a Viper, the Ecos Cobra, and we see that it's $250,000, so it's far from our price range. We can interact, we can look at it, we can think of how nice it'd be to sit down and drive this down the racetrack, but we won't be doing that today. You'll actually find that all of these cars are far from our price range. What this place does give us, however, is an idea of what we can start selling cars for once we are able to repair them fully. Currently, we're not able to fix body parts ourselves. We'll have to replace this all. And we're not able to paint cars. So we still have some time before we can start doing full repairs to make money. Let's head back to the garage. If we come over to our toolbox, we can take a look and see that it's not going to be until level 30 that we can open up the garage fully to where we get the paint shop, where we're able to unlock the welder, which will enable us to repair rust on vehicles, and we won't be able to clean out the interiors until we get to level 30. And then at level 35, we can actually start doing our own body repairs. That's the long-term goal for the shop, is to get to level 30 so we can start hitting up the junkyard, start hitting up the barns, scouring for cars so we can make a few extra bucks on the side. But with that, thanks for watching as I simulate my life one game at a time. If you like this video, please be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the future action. You can follow on Twitter for updates for future games being played, as well as you can follow on Twitch as I try to stream 3 days a week. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time at SimTheWorld.